Alright, so now we're going to start working on these headlights. First thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and get the mounting nut, washer, reinforcement plate, and the bucket off. Hardware is going to be replaced. The reinforcement is going to be plated. The bucket will be repainted. Let's call that bucket's more of like a mount. This light is pretty good shape. I have one little ding right here in the ring. And I kind of believe that's it on this light. Feels pretty good. So, first thing I'm going to do is unscrew the ring itself. Which I just now noticed that this ring has a nut on it, which is incorrect. So I'll probably end up having to get a new ring. I do have a couple off of my 861 that I might be able to refurb and use. Either that or just take the mount off of it. But once you unscrew the bottom, that ring will come off. And the headlight should easily come out. Something else, you can kind of see the difference in paint colors here. This is that 8N style medium gray. Here's the later model 1000 series light gray that's almost a white. And let's see if I can get this bulb out of here. These bulbs should just come out easily, but sometimes they get kind of rusted in place. There it goes. I'll just unscrew the leads. And there's our bulb. And that's a 4419 if you need to replace yours. And we look inside of here. We have a power wire and a ground wire. Power wire just slides through the mount bolt. And notice this one is damaged and will be replaced. You can get these new from Dennis Carpenter. And you can also get the ground replaced. And I have now come across something. And let me show you. Both of my lights are the Tract-O-Lite. However, if you look at them, they are different. And I'm not sure which one is the correct one. So, there is a chance that I will have to get a new light. And I say that just because they don't match, but the outsides of them do look like they match pretty dang close. So we might be able to use them. Have to do some more digging and looking. Now, one thing that I struggled to find, and I basically found out by looking at these lights. This tractor was repainted. And if you notice, the mount here is painted the same color as the light. However, underneath the paint, the light gray paint, there is no medium gray. And inside you can see that this plate is plated underneath, or the light's painted underneath the plated plate. I'll eventually spit that out. Same here, you can see that there's paint under where the plate was. So that's why I disassembled these, because these will get plated, these will be painted. So to separate that, you just have to grind the 4 little rivet heads off, drive them out, and the plate will come off. And I'm also going to put new bolts in here, because one of these two fought me like crazy taking it apart, and so I just got some new bolts to put in. I'm going to see if I can just knock this one out. So there's that knocked out. I'm going to go grind those 4 rivets off. And then this is disassembled. Okay, so now I got them ground out. I'm just going to take a punch and knock them out. So there's our ground wire, and the bucket, and the bracket. Now, from what I can remember on my other tractors, the 8N and the 861, this style bucket with the little tabs here is how they were. So I'm not sure what this light is from. I don't know when a change was made. Like I say, either one will probably work just fine, but I have no idea. But anyway, we'll get them cleaned up, replated, painted, everything, and get them put back onto the tractor. Okay, and I just want to talk about these bulbs a minute. Both these bulbs do test out fine. They're testing roughly 1/2 ohm, and I did hook them to my power supply with 12 volts because these are 12 volt lights. they both lit up. So as you can see, this light here looks a little shinier and cleaner, and this one's still dingy and dirty. To get this to look like this, I'm going to use some 4/0 steel wool. I know that sounds a little weird, but it does work. And this steel wool will take off all this grungy grime that's on here for who knows how long. That one there's got some crap in it I might have to get a little more aggressive with. But this will clean this up, and then go around to the back side, shine them up as well, and it just helps to make the light look a little better. And I ain't really going to do it on camera because I mean it's kind of boring, but hopefully the camera's picking this up as far as just how big of a difference it is. So get you some 4/0 steel wool and clean your lights up if they're good. You'll see the results. Even if the camera's not picking them up, you should see it in person. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up, and then I'll show them side by side together, cleaned up. Alright, so there's that light all cleaned up. And you can kind of see the reflection here of my fluorescent lights. They're pretty crystal clear. Well, this bulb does have some scratches in it that the other one does not. I can't really get them out, but it is what it is. So there's the back side. I didn't clean at the size right there because the steel wool will wipe that away because that's just ink printed on there. And one other thing that I'm pretty sure I failed to mention, only do this if you have the glass sealed beams. It's like I don't think they make a plastic sealed beam, but the steel wool only use on the glass. So there's both lights. Now they're just ready to go back into the housings once I get those blasted, surfaced, and painted. Alright, so I have the light housing sandblasted, body worked. This one here did not have any weld holes in it. The other one did have a tiny hole right here at the T in Tract-O-Lite, which I had to weld up. This one had no holes in it, so it pretty much got hit with a surfacer and came out nice. Like I said, I went ahead and replated the mount bracket. So that's the first piece I'm going to install. And it's actually going to get riveted on with these little tube rivets. Now, I did buy a special rivet tool to install these. You don't have to have that. You can actually use a roll pin punch and a hammer. It's a little more difficult, but it's cheaper than buying this riveter. Let me see something real quick. Alright. So what I'm going to do, one more thing. This lower hole here on the inside is where the ground wire is going to go, so that's going to be the last one that I rivet into place. I'm going to use this pop rivet just to help keep everything in alignment. We'll install the new rivet. Take my rivet tool. This is obviously hard to do with one hand here. There's the rivet installed, and as you can see, it folds it over nicely like it would be from the factory. Now I just got to do the other three. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do right now, since I have to take this riveter and go so far over, I am going to go ahead and put some masking tape on this to protect my paint finish. And to be honest, I really probably should have done this on the first two, but I just didn't. And of course, this one here is the one that gets our ground wire. Okay, now for the ground wire. It's an NCA-13174. And of course you're going to need two of them for two headlights. So go ahead and just put your rivet in there along with your ground wire. The rivet tool and everything in there all lined up. that all into place. So there's our new ground wire. Of course, with our bracket all installed, and there's what it looks like on the outside. And while I'm at this stage, I'm going to go ahead and install the mounting bolt. And I did say that I was going to put new ones in, which you can get new ones of these. I'll put the number here at the bottom of the video for you. I ended up just deciding to reuse my original ones, because I mean, these are made in the USA. But that's just going to slide down in there. I have to kind of work it in, probably tap it with a hammer to get it to go back in. Might even be able to draw it up with a nut and everything. See if I can knock it in real easily with the ball peen hammer. Probably should have done this really before I put this into the light. Yeah, probably should have done that before I put it on the light. Let's see if I can draw it up with a washer. There we go. I just had to get it lined up right and I was able to pull it in with my hand. Alright, so next piece I'm going to go ahead and put on is going to be a new power wire. A new power wire is an NCA-13075. Of course, the bullet end slides through the bolt to hook up with our main lighting harness, or our headlight harness, which then hooks to the main harness. Alright, so now at this point, try to determine, is this going to be your left headlight or your right headlight? I think what I'm going to do is have this as my left. And this is just OCD, which is why this is an important step. The GE on the center of the bulb. I want it to where I look at the light, it's right side up. That's just, like I say, that's my OCDism. You don't have to do that, it's just me. But I want to put that bulb in as if this is a left side headlight. Of course, the wires don't matter which one goes to which terminal. I'm going to make it to where the ground is the furthest one away, and that's mainly just so I have plenty of wiring to hook up to the light harness. And then that will slide down in, which some of these bulbs have like a little locator. Well, that locator is going to go into these little notches. And that'll help you to line it up so it's perfectly straight up and down. Last piece to go on is going to be the ring. We're going to slide that all the way down into the groove. And your bolt is going to be at the bottom. Now on this tractor, these rings should have a bolt and a nut. The later ones will have just a bolt with a little tab here on the end that will screw into. I'm not sure exactly where that change was made, but according to the parts manual, this should have just the bolt with the nut. And there is a lock washer under the head of the bolt. Now, one thing that is nice about the nut and the bolt setup, with this being the left side light, I can put the head of the bolt towards the outside of the tractor. On those other styles, all the bolt heads point to the left. So on your right side light, it's pointed towards your sheet metal. It's a little harder to deal with. And I messed up. Look, I didn't get the light down all the way, or the ring rather. Okay. Yeah, mine's a little off. I'm gonna have to twist it and get it to line up. Then of course, the last piece is going to be the mounting bracket, bucket, whatever. Obviously this is going to have to come off when you mount the light back onto the tractor, but just for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and put mine on. Along with the reinforcement plate. And then I got a new nut and a lock washer to go on there. Which this bolt is a half 20 thread if you need new nuts. And I am using the yellow zinc, just because I like that on the hood of the tractor. I think it looks cool. It's like I've mentioned in previous videos, because of the brass bolts, as they refer to them as, that's around on the dash. That's why I use the yellow zinc bolts. But, like I said, aside from fixing that, there is the headlight completely restored, ready to go back onto the tractor. Now I just got to do the other one.